getting started early so I can get everything set up. We got 2 minutes to kill. Alrighty, let me get my little trusty whiteboard. Thank you for being patient. If you're originally expecting this to take place at 6, got called in to work. So I need to get this thing tuned. Okay, OSTK. Let's see. Let me grab a few extra books. My usual recommended reading. Where did I leave that last one? Okay, I need Leos Egri's The Art of Dramatic Writing. Let's see. Been printing so many notes out for the recent videos, I realized I need to clean these up a little. Let's see. Let me double check this one to see if there's any notes here. SDK is playing a new Kirby game while walking. Let's see, my mom's watching. Hi. Charles Thorne, welcome. Let's see, David Gorman wrote on characterization in this book. Let me double check if he has anything interesting to add. So we still got 2 minutes. Let's see, reading this one right here, Teaching Narrative Theory by David Herman, Brian McHale, and James Phelan. We're going to cover James Phelan's work in just a moment when we discuss the character stuff. Let's see, Character in Modern Narrative Theory, where they talk about the stuff we discussed last time. Props, morphology of the folktale, the basic character types. Oh yeah, we forgot to cover Claude Bremen in the last one. We'll cover him eventually. Let's see, Ian Forrester, examples of plot. Let me check the, okay, current time is, shoot, I can't check. So, okay, it's 7:30. So let me just put this up real quick. Actually, hold on, I think I found something. Characterization techniques, action words, thoughts. Let me bookmark that. I might need that for later. Okay, so a little improvised stuff. Okay, welcome to a character workshop. We're going to discuss how to build characters. Hopefully those that are coming through the stream already have characters in mind, or they want to help build a cast or something. So I'm going to give you a few tools for building characters and cast. And at the very end, and I encourage people to share their ideas in the chat so we can get a little discussion going. So let's see. The first thing we need to discuss before we even discuss fictional characters is what even is a fictional character. Because as the one of the classic examples that actual literary theorists use is when we refer to Sherlock Holmes, we're not actually referring to a real person. We are technically referring to a series of words on a page, a series of behaviors, a series of descriptions, but not an actual person. In fact, a lot of character descriptions, when you read like scholarly articles, they tend to refer to it in a very abstract manner, in that they're less people than they are a collection of ideas that represent people. But because I am trying to gear these streams towards people actually writing stories and not people having esoteric discussions with like people with doctorates and whatnot, I'm going to try to make this as practical as I can. So the first thing we'll talk about in character discussion is one of my favorites ideas, James Phelan's 3 dimensions of characters. And they are the real, the synthetic, and the thematic. So this is in context that A looks really weird, I'm sorry. Okay. So Although this was written in a scholarly context talking about the abstract descriptions of characters in Hi, William Fleet, this can also be used in building characters. The real is, how is the character like us? How do they dress like us? How do they act like us? What is their realistic qualities? How can we relate to them? And if you saw the video on psychographics, it's the thing that makes us either identify with the character or want to form a parasocial relationship with the character. It's usually a positive trait or it's a similarity to us, like they share a weakness or something. But then you have the synthetic. This is how the character is not necessarily not like us, but either how we wish to be or how it's heightened by unreality. I think a good example here would be basically any Final Fantasy or Square Enix character. I think Sora from Kingdom Hearts comes to mind. He's basically your average kid hero. He wants to do his best. He's confident. He has real qualities, but then he wears the clown shoes. He holds a giant keyblade. He interacts with a giant cartoon dog and a duck. And the royalty he answers to is a talking mouse, so that would fit under the synthetic. But then we also have the thematic, the structural or the symbolic function of the character. If you understand the hero's journey or Jungian archetypes, you will hear a lot of writing teachers talk about you have the hero, the mentor, the trickster, the anima, the animus, the shapeshifter. That would fall under the thematic category. Let's see. Hydrogem says, Disney characters in a Square game. Yep, let's see. If you were to go with Donald Duck, synthetic, he's a talking duck and he gets ridiculously angry sometimes. But real, we relate to his frustration and everything. And we also relate to him being the underdog in a lot of cases. Or Goofy. He's a ridiculous goofball to the point of hitting the synthetic note, but at the same time, who isn't goofy from time to time? We're all a little bit goofy. But then if you look at them thematically, they're the sidekick characters, the ally characters. You have one that represents, let's see. STK Productions in chat goes, Let's see, Hydrogems mentions that he is a family man as well, one of the only Disney characters with an actual biological son. No adopted nephews, no, as we discussed in that Kingdom Hearts Let's Play we did a long time ago, Goofy's the only one that smashed a hook. And I forgot who mentioned this, but when he climaxes, he goes, okay. I love talking about scholarly research while talking about Disney characters having sex. Okay. So anyway, we got the real, the synthetic, and the thematic. So again, the real is what we relate to. The synthetic is us basically how we wish to be, stuff we can get away with. The unreal stuff in the thematic is the structural or symbolic stuff. The next way of building a character, in which is popularized by Leos Egri, is what's known as the bone structure. Speaking of which, let's see, there's my marker. And they are the physical, the psychological, and the sociological. So, this is Egri's 3 parts to the character bone structure: the physical, the psychological, and the sociological. The physical counts for their, not just their physical traits, but also their style of dress, what we see of the character. The psychological, which we are going to cover in a second, represents their mindset, their personality, their values, and their sociological is their place in society. Now, if you are building a character, let me give you an example from the actual book Leos Egri wrote, The Art of Dramatic Writing. And I wish I would have put a freaking bookmark. Okay, so it says here that the examples for the physical include their sex, gender, their age, their height and weight, color of hair, eyes, and skin, their posture. Let's see, their appearance, as I said, good looking, over or underweight, clean, neat, pleasant, untidy, the shape of their head, their face, their limbs. Anyone who's ever worked in a character editor and just built a character without knowing their personality, but then looked at the character when you're done and could think of something, well, that's an example right there. Their appearance can sometimes also influence their personality. Also, hi, Muscuma 39, as we'll discuss in just a moment. And let's see. Defects such as deformities, abnormalities, birthmarks, and diseases, and they're hereditary, especially if you're writing stories if they have relatives or anything in it as well. Let's see. Next, he mentions the sociological. I got them out of order on this little. Let's see. Their class, especially if you're writing a fantasy setting or a setting where class is important. But there's a thing in narratology called focalization. If class isn't an important issue in your story, then you don't have to worry about it. But there's also, I guess, like in improv, there's a thing called status. Different characters have different statuses among each other. So let's see, I think Hydra Gems is watching. They wrote a story, Demon Hunter Linda, and different characters treated each other in different ways based on what they value and everything. And I think that's a great classic example. So it doesn't necessarily have to be like social class. It can also be class among family, friends, and that sort of thing. Let's see, occupation, their type of work, hours of work, income, conditions of work, whether they're union or ununion, attitude towards organization, and suitability for work. And again, if your story does not call for occupation, you can just skip over that. Education, the kind of schooling they have, their grades, favorite subjects, poor subject, and aptitudes. Or you can just shorten it down to intelligence, but that can also fit under psychology. Their home life, let's see. Yeah, Hydra says, Linda wants to be a demon hunter, but she's lazy and cares about those she's close to. And we'll also have one character that chides her for her laziness, but another one that sees potential, and so on and so forth. Let's see. But back to home life. We got the way their relationship with their parents, their earning power, whether they're an orphan or have siblings, parents separated or divorced, their parents' vices, their development, their parents' development, neglect. All these can influence how your character, like what your character acts like, what they do, and so on and so forth. Their religion, their race and nationality, places of community, who's the leader among their friends, as I discussed earlier, favorite clubs, sports, political affiliations, amusement hobbies, and their favorite forms of entertainment. So far we have what your character looks like and basically their pecking order in society. And the last one we have is psychology. And the examples that Egri lists here are, their sexuality, sexuality, moral standards, personal premise, ambition, their frustration and chief disappointments, their temperament. If you know about temperament, there's choleric, easygoing, pessimistic, and optimistic. Basically, you have one that's like low energy and pessimistic, low energy optimistic, high energy pessimistic, and high energy optimistic. And there's other different forms of them too. I think there's a circumspect made by Timothy Leary, who he wasn't just known for acid research, like LSD research. He also had like a great thing on personality types too. Let's see. So the personality circumspect by Timothy Leary. That's another one to look up. Let's see, complexes, their obsessions, inhibitions, superstitions, phobias, whether they're extroverted, introverted, or right in the middle. If they have any special abilities, if they could speak multiple languages, talents, their level of imagination, judgment, taste, and poise, and their IQ. And in a moment, we're going to look at another tool for building character psychology, but these are what Egri emphasized: the physical, the psychological, and the sociological. And then finally, we have character semiotics. Now, I don't have an example on hand, but if you know about, welcome Michael Doan. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. See, the last thing is character semiotics. If you know about otaku studies, there's actually some postmodern philosophers in Japan that questioned why is it that there are so many otaku who will buy merchandise of shows they don't even watch. And they found that in their studies, there was a thing called micro-narratives, that like characters they'll grab posters or little trinkets, look up lore, so they can find little individual pieces of stories that build a larger story. And later down the line, different anime like studios and game studios found that you can make entire stories out of this. A great example is anything by FromSoft, the Dark Souls series, Bloodborne, Elden Ring, in which you are thrust into this world. You don't know anything that's going on, but anything that catches your interest, you can look up the lore about it, and it gives you breadcrumbs over time. The same can be said with characters. There was one series that they used as their, as I guess their pilot study. It was an anime that was based on a electronics store mascot. The mascot had no personality, but they were able to make one based off of its costume. And in the future, they slowly started making more and more series that built personalities out of their costumes. In fact, Egri would back this up by saying that why a person picks an outfit, why a person picks a costume, really tells you a lot about what the kind of person is. So let's see. If you want to know more about this, I would recommend looking up the book Otaku the Database Animal and any similar books. I forgot the names of the author, but Otaku the Database Animal is the name of the book. Very enlightening, also tells you a lot about, I guess, the mindset of not just people who consume anime, but also produce anime as well. Okay, so that's our background. Now we'll actually get to the building of the characters. And I have 3 tools lined up. Okay, Hydrogem says, sometimes the costume can be simple by colors, how good it can be. If it may look too flashy, then it looks ridiculous. Now, back in the day, I would agree with that, but at the same time, nowadays, I say that if somebody makes a costume ridiculously flashy, hopefully it's on purpose, because it also says about the character if the costume is way too flashy. I'd say there is a line between bad character design and the character that's loud on purpose, so I guess that really depends more on the author, but yeah, I guess that's all there is to it. There's a difference between loud by accident and loud on purpose. I think the lady from Final Fantasy X who has like a skirt made entirely out of belts as an act of protest saying the character designs have too many belts. It's loud on purpose. It shows the character is flamboyant in a very unique way. Let's see. Charles Thorne says some people enjoy standing out and being the center of attention. You can make a costume that definitely like just says it, just so you look at the character and you think that's a character that wants to stand out. Let's see. Haraku Baskerville says, I have a villain I made that was supposed to be overtly flashy to pretty much play off the Harlequin aesthetic, while also communicating how much she stands out on purpose. Yep, that is another example right there. Alrighty, so building characters. First, we're going to focus on the personality, and we're going to build characters using the HEXACO model. If I can remember where I put, nope. I could have sworn I printed that thing out. One moment. I guess in the meantime, talk amongst yourselves the stuff that I just discussed while I try to remember where I put my freaking HEXACO model. Alright, where are you? I have a little reference book of different writing models. Like, let's see if I can print this over. Let's see. Here's comparative structures. Here's the Save the Cat beat sheet. Now, where did I put this thing? Story challenges. Let's see. Premise lines. Genre sheets. Aha! Here it is. Oh, that's the ocean model, not the HEXACO model. least I thought it was. Ah, here it is, the HEXACO model. I found it. Okay, so HEXACO. It stands for honesty, emotionality, extroversion, agreeableness, conscientiousness, and openness to experience. And each of them has 4 different facets. So honesty and humility is, of course, how honest or dishonest the character is. Its 4 facets are honest versus dishonest, fair versus pragmatic, modest versus greedy, and humble versus braggy. Now, about all these traits are healthy at healthy levels, but once they go to excess, they become unhealthy. For example, honesty in excess becomes brutally honest to the point of insensitivity, while dishonest is someone who is a consummate liar. Now, there could be someone who's just like too shy to speak the truth, or like we've met a lot of sympathetic characters like that. They're like us in some situations where we're too scared to speak out, or we think that like not saying 100% honesty is going to, like, if we were honest then we get in more trouble than if we didn't. So it's something that's relatable, but at the same time, if it's someone who's like completely dishonest, then it loops back to being a negative trait. Then we have fair versus pragmatic in excess. Too much fairness leads to someone who turns a blind eye to people being assholes, while someone who's too pragmatic will break rules even if they make sense. Modesty in excess becomes someone who is just too they're ascetic. They don't believe in any like sort of riches at all. Meanwhile, somebody like, let's see, what's the word I'm looking for? Not aesthetic, something a little easier to relate to. Like they have nothing on purpose. It'll come to me, and I'm pretty sure someone in the chat will come up with it too. Greed in excess, like it's okay to like want to have stuff, but at the same time, it crosses into self-sacrificial. That's it. They're too self-sacrificial. While someone who's too greedy is the classic green-eyed monster. Then humility versus braggy. Humility is the person that's, let's see, not self-loathing. I'm trying to think of the word for it. Someone who won't even take a compliment even if it's well-deserved, while somebody who's too braggy is obviously full of themselves. Then you have emotionality. The 4 traits there are cautious versus brave, or looking at the negative traits, someone who's a fraidy cat versus someone who is reckless, someone who's always nervous versus always calm, versus someone who is a complete worrywart versus someone who is prone to natural selection. They show no fear of danger whatsoever. You have prefers help versus prefers no help. And there's a difference between someone who's a team player and a loner versus someone who is dependent and versus somebody who shuns other people. And then you have warm and clingy versus cold and uncaring. And at excess, you have someone who's a yandere versus somebody who pushes everyone away. Is this making sense so far? The whole idea of like each traits can be done at healthy and unhealthy levels? And while the stream catches up, let's see. Charles Lawrence says, basically characterization is a spectrum. Partly yes, but another thing to remember I should have mentioned earlier is that not all of your characters need all of these traits. As I said before, focalization. Whatever becomes the focus of the story is the trait that you want to emphasize. In fact, you can actually come up with 4, 8, 12, 16, 8, let's see, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24 different plots based on, 24 times 2, 48 different kinds of plots based on these character focuses alone. Okay, so we got a general agreement from the chat. So then we have extroversion, whether the character feels accepted or will basically barge in on any friend group, versus feels unwanted or will never feel accepted even if they're invited. You got shy versus confident and sociable, or at the negative end, someone who's afraid of people versus someone who's overconfident. See, Hydra says, so what if I came up with a character that is a brilliant engineer with a good shooting, but is completely oblivious? No, that sounds like a good character if they're brilliant but oblivious, because you have a dynamic there. That's something they're good at, but at the same time, it's contradicted by the fact that they don't know about it. Oh yeah, another thing I should mention is that contradictory character traits tend to also add dimensionality to characters. All right. My mom says, "You're dead." Okay, let's see. Where were we? Going back to the extroversion traits, we have prefers crowds versus small groups versus someone who's afraid of crowds versus someone who's afraid of being alone. Let's see. Did I miss something? Charles Thorne says, yes, someone definitely like that exists. Then you have someone who's energetic versus reserved, or at the negative end, someone who's hyperactive versus someone who's always tired. In fact, if you've ever watched any anime or played any games in which you have one character whose only trait is that they're always sleepy, that's an example right here. In fact, there's another model, the ocean model, which I have on another page. Let's see. Yeah, the ocean model is the one that most personality psychologists use. I like HEXACO because it's easier for character traits. The ocean model is openness, openness, conscientiousness, agreeableness, extroversion, and neuroticism. And let's see, where is energy under the ocean model? Here's the ocean model right here. Let's see, so you can take a look. So you got industriousness. Yeah, I guess a low energy character would be up here under industriousness. Low on achievement striving, competence, and self-discipline. What else do we have? Agreeableness, neuroticism, openness, and extroversion. But I like the HEXACO model because it also includes whether the person is honest or dishonest. And in a moment, I'll also go over other personality systems you can use to build characters. And again, this is a workshop, so hopefully you're applying some of the stuff to the characters, getting the gears going in the head. Now we have agreeableness. Someone who's forgiving versus unforgiving, or at the negative end, someone who's always forgiving or someone who's always never forgiving. Agreeable, soft versus critical. Someone, at the negative end, someone who's too soft and will let people get away with murder and be like, murdering people's not very nice, versus someone who's overly critical, nobody can do right in the minds of others. Okay. Or others can't do right in their eyes. Okay. Hydra says, how would a character's personality shine if you don't need as much traits? Would you make them a decent character with complexity, or Jesus the Hedgehog? You can get away with one, just one really good trait. In fact, using the Jesus the Hedgehog example, or Sonic in this case, I guess it would be mainly his confidence is the main attractor, because a lot of Sonic is power fantasy stuff. And when you're playing a Sonic game, all you really want is the experience of that power, that confidence. When we go back to the synthetic part of characters, that's the main appeal. The synthetic part is that it's how we wish to be. We want to be the superhero. We want to be the protagonist of a Saturday morning cartoon. And I guess the real factor would be you're playing the game and you're falling into pits and stuff. Or getting launched into space by Eggman. Okay. Agreeableness. Let's continue. We got team player versus stubborn and inflexible. We got, here's what I'm reading off of. Let's see, Hydrogen says, you want to be like Batman. Well, yeah, the synthetic part, he's rich, he's a playboy, he also beats the crap out of bad guys. He's got all the cool gadgets like James Bond, but also at the same time, on the real side, he's like, I'm getting too old for this shit. Okay. Then we have team player versus stubborn and inflexible. versus someone who never gives their ideas and will let the team choose for them, even if it's for their detriment, versus someone who is completely inflexible. They march to the beat of their own drum. They can't listen to directions. It's the classic vigilante cop. It's like, I never take any partners. I work alone. See, Charles Thorne says, you want to be like Spastic. It's like, I wouldn't want to be that because I lost all my confidence. So now I have to teach writing instead of writing myself. So don't end up like me. Don't become a perfectionist. Keep your creativity and your confidence. Okay, let's see. So one last agreeableness trait, slow to anger versus impatient. And at the negative end, someone who never gets angry, even if they should get angry. They tolerate everything, versus someone who gets angry at the drop of a hat, even if it's to their detriment. The classic Karen trope. Hydra says, when making characters, I always tend to make more... Oh, hold on, it just faded out. Let's see. Tend to make them more fun, yet still feel like they're a good character. That is a good way to go about it. See, I guess to put it another way, it's like make them fun, but also just fun enough so you want to keep writing them, but also real enough to keep writing them. As I said, it's that balance between the synthetic and the real. Okay, so then we got the conscientiousness traits. We got organized versus loose, motivated and busy versus relaxed and lazy, prefers perfection versus speed, and impulsive versus self-controlled. And what was that in the chat? Let's see. Like Linda, she wants to be a demon hunter, but she tends to get lazy and gets irritated and reacts to others for her negative traits, like Kiku calling her a lazy daydreamer. And there you go. So I'm going to go a little faster on the traits so we can get to some of the other models. Openness to experience, because I'm pretty sure we all get the idea that these traits can be exaggerated to the point of being negative and also high ort. And then finally, we got openness to experience. We got prefer style versus prefer substance, curious versus disinterested, creative and abstract versus traditionalist and concrete, and conservative versus progressive. And that gives us our HEXACO model. So you can look up the HEXACO model online. And if the HEXACO model doesn't do it for you, there's other models you can use. As I said, we have the ocean model, which is, let's see, well, HEXACO has, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, has 24 different traits. This has 6, 12, 18, it actually has surprisingly more. So the ocean model is another good one to look up, but that's not the limit there. You can also, you can also, if you know the Myers-Briggs personality system, you can use that to build characters. The Enneagram, which I think is loosely based on Carl Jung's archetypes. Let's see, do I have an Enneagram model in here? No, I do not, but I think I found that circumplex. I found it, the Timothy Leary circumplex. Let's see, I think the two dimensions here are someone who's dominant versus submissive, and someone who's open and welcoming versus someone who's cold and frigid. And as a result, you end up with a whole entire different spectrum of personality types. You got someone who's cooperative, someone who's, let's see. At one end, you have cooperative and over-conventional. Then as you go down to the submissive side, you got docile and dependent. Then as you approach the negative side, self-effacing and masochistic, rebellious and distrustful. Then fully on the negative side, you got the aggressive, sadistic, competitive and narcissistic. Once you go up the dominant side, managerial and autocratic, and responsible and hypernormal. And let's see. And as I discussed in the psychographics video, you also have the Schwartz value model, which I need to 3-hole punch and put in my binder. Let's see, I don't have the thing printed out, so I'll just use my little whiteboard to write it down. Actually, I have it. Never mind. Where are... Ah, here it is. At least I thought... Okay, here it is. Okay, the Schwartz value model is between, let's see. At one side you have protection, and the other side you have growth. This one is social focused, this one is personal focused. And the basic values are security, conformity, tradition, benevolence, universalism, self-direction, stimulation, hedonism towards growth, hedonism for protection, achievement, and power. And what the character values can definitely influence their behavior. A character that wants security, conformity, they want things to be the same, they want to be part of a group, will act differently than a character that wants stimulation, self-direction, wants to be on their own. And they'll behave differently from someone who wants everyone to get along, who wants to help others, and that person's going to behave differently than someone that wants achievement and power. Okay, so that should give you an idea of how to build a character's personality. Now, for building the sociological selves, we have, let's see, the 4 different selves. I forgot who made this original model, but Robert McKee in his book, I have the book right here, Character, goes over the 4 selves, the public self, the private self, the core self, and the hidden self. So let me mark it on this little, let me mark it on my whiteboard, and I'll show you in just a second. So let's see, public self, the private self, the core self, and the hidden self. So to recap, you can use HEXACO, Ocean, or any personality system to build character personalities. Charles Thorne says, I never made a character before. Is this like pre-established step-by-step process? That is a tough one. There's a million different ways to make characters. I'm just giving you some of the different stuff that I've encountered, and how you use them is up to you. As I said, this is kind of a toolbox. The first one is the personality types. The second one will be the 4 selves, and the third will be the semiotic square. But how you build a character really depends on you and what kind of story you're making. Okay. So the 4 selves, the public, the private, the core, and the hidden. This is what's known, this is what's unknown, this is to the public, and this is to the self. The public self is basically what the character tries to display to other people. It's how the character acts when in front of people who aren't necessarily in their friend groups. It's the social mask the character wears. So how does your character behave out in public? So if you're building a character right now, just try to think of how, especially if you built a personality using the stuff that we just discussed, how would your character behave in front of strangers, in front of people who aren't in their inner circle, and so on and so forth. And let me drink while you imagine that. But in addition to the public self, we also have the private self. How does this character behave when nobody's around, or when their close friends are there, or when their family's around? Let's see, Hydra says, making a character for making it easy. Heck, I even made a character based on a custom player I made from Sword and Shield. That works too. Really, anyone with an imagination can make up characters. These are just different ways to, I guess, speed up the process or come up with even more traits. So if you want to know more about your character's personality, use the personality models. If you want to know how they behave in front of others, you can use this. And there's other methods as well. These are just the ones that I'm displaying for this little workshop. So this is how they act in public. This is how they act with their close friends and intimates. Then we have the core self. What does the character think in their own head? Regardless of these two up here, what does the character think they are? Let's see. trying to think of a good example here. I guess a good old, to go back to the classic film stuff, Empire Strikes Back. We got Luke, who thinks he is the big brave hero out to stop the evil empire and that he's hot shit. But then Yoda comes along and tells him, nope, you're just reckless. You blew up a Death Star, now you think you can save the galaxy. Let's see. Hydra says, imagination helps the creative mind when it comes to creating characters, even though you don't, the information explained here is helpful. But Charles says, well, damn, does that basically mean character making processes are paying? Yes! In fact, when you're building characters, you're basically role-playing. When you write characters, you are essentially acting as that character. You're asking, what would I do if I was this character in this situation? When you write the dialogue, you're basically improvising as that character. You are playing every single person in your cast. And welcome, Siege. Okay, so we got all the character acts in public, in private, what they tell themselves. Then finally, they have the hidden self. The self that not even themselves know about. Like the subliminal motivation, the hidden desire, the subconscious stuff you hear about in Freudian psychoanalysis. Like a character can tell themselves, a very common in like a lot of Marvel and superhero movies, you got a villain that tells themselves, oh, I'm the hero, I'm the good guy, I'm the winner of everything. Then you have the hidden self when deep down they got an obsession with purity, or they secretly like get a thrill off the sadism of hurting others, but they couldn't tell themselves that because then you'd have cognitive dissonance and they'd go nuts. Hydra says, RPing does help develop characters, making scenarios for your characters to overcome. Learn their personalities, learn their traits when you can. Why else RPGs are considered good games? Hydra says, then again, that's just me. No, that there's a lot of validity to it. In fact, I'm pretty sure Will Wheaton, who made an entire show out of tabletop games of screenwriters, can definitely vouch. In fact, a lot of tabletop players can... a lot of like screenwriters who play tabletop games accredit their tabletop playing with learning characters. So it's not just for nerds, it's also for writers. STK says, I'll be back. Charles Thorne says, wow, okay, I played some RP games. I'll definitely try making more characters now. Yep, I also really like the D&D system of the... Oh, that's actually one more personality system that you can add to the list. I'm pretty sure everyone's encountered it, so I guess I'll make this 3.5 tools. Let's see. Lawful, neutral, chaotic, good, neutral, evil. The D&D class alignment system. In fact, this can make for great role-playing as well. Or it says, what makes a good romance story and what makes a bad romance story. Funny enough, Ben Yahtzee Croshaw recently made a great video about this, saying that a good romance story, the characters actually have chemistry, a reason to relate, a reason to fall in love, and a big obstacle to get in the way of that love. And also the characters themselves are interesting and the plot is interesting, whereas a bad romance story puts them together and they just fuck like crazy or kiss or whatever. There's like no reason. It's like, oh, we have two attractive people. They're falling in love. Please like us. Whereas a good romance story replicates the getting to know the person, the falling for them, the first kiss, the first fight, the first makeup, that sort of thing. The longing for the romance, the achievement of the romance. Let's see, Charles Senza says, I never understood romance stories. A lot of the literature that I've read on romance stories tends to be, it's mostly about the longing for the relationship and all the experience that goes into the journey into finally attaining the relationship. Let's see. Charles says they mostly seem like eye candy. Well, that's part of the appeal of it. That's where a lot of the tension comes in, of course, for both the viewers and the characters. But yeah, another good way to build characters is the classic alignment system. You got lawful, neutral, and chaotic, and good, neutral, and evil. The lawful character will, of course, is more lawful. They'll follow the rules, and the chaotic character will break the rules. For example, a good chaotic character is the classic rogue, your Jack Sparrows, your Han Solos. Let's see. Your later in the series Shadow the Hedgehog, unless that would be chaotic neutral. Then you have, let's see, well, lawful good will obviously be Superman. Your good neutral would be basically anyone played by Kevin Bacon. Then lawful neutral is the character that just wants to uphold the law. Your Inspector Chavot from freaking, what's the name of that Broadway musical that everyone sings? The One More Day, that one. Les Miserables, there we go. Then neutral is kind of hard to pull off because it's a character that doesn't give a fuck whatsoever. It's the character, to quote the one guy from Futurama that's dying, it's like, if you see my wife, tell her I said, hey. Then chaotic neutral, the character that just doesn't give a fuck, they do whatever the hell they want. See Agent Smith from Matrix Revelations. No, Resurrections, not Revelations, Resurrections. Okay, so checking the chat. Okay, my mom says a good romance is realistic, overcoming an obstacle and a happy ending. Or it says creating chemistry, a reason for two to fall in love and an interruption, yes. And Siege says it doesn't always have to be happy, yes. There's a lot of down-ending romances, what's known as passion tragedies. War of the Roses is a great example. Or a funny example, the comedic version of that, Love Stinks. My mom definitely knows about that movie. But one of the greatest down-ending in romances ever. To spoil the ending, to give you an idea of how you can do a down-ending romance, these two characters are in an obviously bad relationship, and the guy is stuck in it. He's been trying this whole movie to get out of it. So he tells the woman, hey, let's get married in Vegas. And, oh, where to start? It turns out they moved all of her stuff into a store-it-all, and then admits in front of the friends and family that, yeah, that ring I got you is cubic zirconium. That little piece of glass is only like $20. But hey, we're in Vegas, let's party. Starts dancing while Elvis impersonator looks on in shock. And then she pulls the gun out from a freaking cop nearby, shoots him in the ass. And meanwhile, the two friends are like, we gotta get new friends. So you see, not all romances have to end happily. It has to end with somebody getting shot in the ass. And then telling her as he's being carted away in the hospital, you've turned me gay now, and not just a little gay, full-on Liberace gay. I like show tones. Which would count as, let's see. In fact, if we were to look at this from a character arc perspective, this guy has gone from, if I can find my, let's use the ocean example. Someone who went from being compliant to someone who decided to rebel. He'd gone from being desperate for love to someone who was screaming, burn in hell, demon! Okay. So, we got ourselves our personality, our sociology. Now let's build an appearance. Using our good friend, if I can build it real quick. Using our good friend, the Semiotic Square. I've talked about this on many streams, and I keep coming back to it because it's an absolutely amazing way to come up with characters, settings, themes, and even costumes. So, if we got ourselves our personality, Okay, Charles Thorne says, holy hell, or it says, gotta rewatch this. And Hydra says, yep, the good old, let's see, hello, good old Square. So you can build casts out of this as well, but if you think of a character's personality, you can put everything that matches the personality up here, everything that doesn't match the personality or sociological background down here, something that's the, let's see, so this, the opposite of that, then something that's in between the two, you got B, and something that's the opposite of this. So you can come up with one character who dresses like this, another character who dresses like that, another character that dresses like neither of those, and a character who doesn't dress like that. Or if you're going for a single character, one trait that explains their personality, something that's, I guess, something the opposite, something in the middle, and then something the opposite of that as well. So if we were to use Egri's character bone example, I should have put a bookmark in this. Okay, let me put this up here. Where did I put? One moment, bone structure. Okay, here we go. Let's see. So let's see, for sex, one of the examples I used in a previous stream is you got a masculine character of, let's see, a masculine male character, a feminine female character, a masculine female character, and a feminine male character. You can also have a, let's see, a character who's young, a character who's old, a character who looks young but acts old, and a character who's old but acts young. Let's see, height and weight. You got, I guess, someone who's lanky, someone who's short and stout, someone who's rotund, and someone, let's see. There's all different sorts of shapes. I'm pretty sure you can come up with examples here. I'm short on words here. Hair colors. Especially in the world of anime, you can have someone with brown hair, black hair, blue head, red hair. Let's see, someone who's, their appearance, let's see, costume. Someone who's neat and tidy, someone who looks unkempt, someone who looks untidy because it's part of the style. The character wears the backwards cap, or a million belts, or a giant zipper around their neck. Let's see, or old and acts young. I'm talking about myself as well. Let's see, or someone who tries to dress well but really looks like a rube. But yeah, so you can run basically any costume-related thing through this and come up with a character. So that should give you the 3 basic tools for building a character. And because we're approaching the end of the hour, you know what time it is, folks. While I get everything, I'll just, first of all, thank everyone for coming. If you found this useful, I guess share it with your friends. Tell them about either the personality model, the, let's see, the 4 selves, or the semiotic square for building characters. Again, this is not a fully exhaustive list. For more information, I would recommend, let's see, I would recommend if I could find that last book that I had. I had 3 books up here. Where did I put that 3rd book? Hold on a second. Well, the first 2 books I can recommend are Leos Egri's The Art of Dramatic Writing. It covers not just character creation, but also what to do with those traits. Egri says that you can take a trait and then arc that trait from one end to the other as the story progresses. Their values, it can be their sociological class, their personality. In fact, you can make quite a lot of arcs. You can make a character go from disillusioned to optimistic, optimistic to disillusioned. You can make a character go from rags to riches, riches to rags, and so on and so forth. It's been a classic since, I think, the 70s. How long has this book been out? Wow, since 1942. It was only called The Art of Dramatic Writing in 1946. So this book has been a classic for over 60 years. This is another good one. Anything by Will Dunn, the Dramatic Writer's Companion. It focuses on character development. Each one has practical exercises. Let's see if I can find a few on here. Let's see. It covers character motivations. What does the character want? Defining the problem. Let's see. Their good intentions gone awry, bad intentions gone the opposite. And where I put... Oh, there it is. I put it underneath my whiteboard. And of course, the ever popular Robert McKee's character. Anything by Robert McKee is great on writing, whether it be Robert McKee's story, dialogue, character, and his new book, Action. All of it is based on structuralist narratology. This one covers a lot of the stuff that I covered and then some. And let's see, I had one more book. Let's see, I didn't really get into this one, so I think I'll skip it. It's time for one of the main reasons everyone tunes into this stream. Pet storm time! So I'm going to give you two different characters, two different plots, and then we're going to see where it goes. Okay, Hydro says, figure this can help people make characters, but always remember when making a character, give them what makes them tick, personality, use their imagination if you must. Yep. I will say that, let's see, what was I thinking? Oh yeah, tools can only get you so far, imagination will carry the rest. There's an obligatory Albert Einstein quote somewhere about how imagination can sometimes be more important than concrete knowledge. Okay, SDK says, a bit late for this, but I got a lot of different characters with different personalities. I'm planning on making different and darker take on the series. Okay, now then, I'm going to show you two cards. Oh, if they're two of the same color, I don't want to do it. So let me pick two different colored cards. Okay. Type 1 if you want 1, and 2 if you want 2. I'm trying my best not to see the text, just that it's on the camera enough. So this is 1, this is 2. 1, 2. We got 1 for 1, 2 for 1, 1 for 2, 2 for 2, and 1 for 1. Okay, we'll set this one aside. And now a plot. So that's pink and that's black. Okay, here we go. So now the plot. 1 or 2. 1 or 2. Oh. We got 1 for 2. 2 for 2. All right, unanimous 2. All right, let's see the plot we got. A video game villain that just wants to be a good guy fights to save some rare and mysterious animal from poachers. Okay, this could be fun. A video game villain. Let me get a quick drink. Okay, I think I got it since we used this example earlier. He was one of the most feared villains of, well, actually, he's not particularly feared. Curses! I've been beaten by that blue hedgehog yet again! And now, Dr. Eggman is finally going to give up his life of crime. I am now going to open the sanctuary for small kittens. Hey, Eggman! Sonic, what are you doing here? Well, we found this gold silver, let's see. This gold and silver looking, gerbil looking thing. Pikachu! He's the last of his kind. We need to stop him. Well, I don't know much about these Pikachu things, but I shall rescue him. Now, it's time to add a twist to this. Yes, I've created that. Let's see. SDK says, Eggman did open a theme park. Yes, as penance for my crimes. Now, time to add a twist. Better 1 or 2. 1 or 2. We got 2 1s. Unanimous 1. Okay, let's see. But what if we split this into 3 movies? What would part 2 look like? So let's rewind a little bit. Last time, Last time. Well, Pikachu, it seems this is where we part ways. Pikachu walks off into the sunset, but there's like a crap load of Pikachus. Oh my dear gravy. Now, this summer, I'm covered in Pikachus. Well, looks like you got an armful, Dr. Eggman. Shut up, you blue hedgehog. Dr. Eggman is now up to his eyeballs in Pikachus. But something terrible has happened. Let's see, I need another character. I need a villain now. One or two. One or two. We got 1 for 2. 2 for 2. 1 for 1. 1 for 1. All right, 2 for 2. A giant lizard and giant ape bent on killing each other. See, I got all these Pikachus and nothing is going to hurt them. When suddenly, I'm the Bio Lizard, and I've come to get my revenge, Eggman. And I'm Donkey Kong, as played by Seth Rogen, and I'm in this because I'm contractually obligated to be here. And now, the ultimate fight between Dr. Eggman, Pikachu, the Bio Lizard, and Donkey Kong is about to erupt. Oh yeah, I'm about to use Devour. Shot Pikachu! It's super effective, motherfucker! I use Punch! You just hit me in my overly large nose! From the creators of, let's see. From the creators of Eggachu comes Egga 2! This summer, your Pokeball is going to be egg-shaped. Alrighty. Okay. Alright, so let's put these cards back. Hopefully next one will have less Sonic references in it. Okay, let's come up with an original plot this time. Okay, part 3. What's part 3 gonna be about while I get the next 2 cards? I guess Metroid gets involved and Samus Aran gets into a love triangle with Dr. Eggman. And now that I said triangle, there needs to be a third person. I guess Mother Brain is in there. Can we give Mother Brain a pounding headache? Okay. Okay. They're 2 the same color. Oh, these are the NC-17 cards. But I just looked at them, but no, wait. Yeah. If I saw too much of them, then I'm going to put them back. Like they're NC-17, but not 2 NC-17. Okay, let's try this again. Better 1 or 2? Better 1 or 2? Charles Thorne says, add more strawberries. I got 2 1s. Unanimous 1. Okay. And now the plots. Better 1 or 2? A very unanimous 1 from that last one. We got 1 1. 2 1s. All right, let's see what story our night is going to end on. A lonely tentacle monster only has a month to complete their bucket list. Okay, so we open up on a dark and cloudy night. Bunch of folks in cloaks. A bunch of people in cloaks are walking towards like a large pentagram on the floor. They're chanting like Cthulhu for strong, and suddenly a horrifying tentacle thing starts popping up. Then a horrifying monster pops out. Say, you guys happen to know how to play piano? He was, let's see, what's a good name? What's a good name for a tentacle monster? Blarthazar. He was Blarthazar, the devourer of eons. And let's see. And, see. So you're telling me that I only have like a couple hundred years to live? Yes, you see, not a lot of tentacle monsters live very long after catching pancreatic cancer, mostly because you have like 20 different pancreases. Well, this sucks. And now he's on Earth trying to figure out. Okay, Slagador, that's a better name. And now Slagador has to find a way to fulfill his bucket list. He shows him breaking into a Japanese school. It's like, are there any girls here that would be interested in dating a tentacle monster? One slowly raises the hand, one slaps her hand down. Okay, now for the twist. Better one or two? Better one or two? We got one for two, one for one, two for one. All right, that's 3 ones. Let's see what we got. Can you cast my 2 creepy uncles as leads? They really need this. Perfect. And all was going fine. It's like, oh, so you're from another dimension? Yeah, I devoured eons. I'm just looking for a human, settle down with. By the way, I got pancreatic cancer. Oh, let's see, where did I put the, But then, let's see. Hi, I'm Ruth's father. Hi, I'm Ruth's other father. Dear God, I've seen planets drenched in the bones of my victims, and even this kind of creeps me out. And now he has to win the approval of the love of his life, 2 dads. It's like, oh, wait a minute, where's the mother in the situation? Oh, we keep her locked up in the bait. Actually, no, that was actually my mustache. Whoops. We keep her mother locked up in the basement. Yeah, we like to have more children. We're breeders. Yeah, it's a dysfunctional family. You don't say. This Valentine's Day, this Valentine's Day, the horrifying eldritch abomination isn't the creepiest thing you're going to encounter. It's... What's a good title? Call of 2 Carls, Cthulhu. This summer, let's see, in strange eons, even romance won't die. And let's see, I guess we'll have one of the uncles say the big tagline for the trailer. Would you like to come in for some potato salad? I made it myself with my feet. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave now. Okay. Charles Thorne says, this is a really interesting romantic horror story. Okay, should we do one more to wash the taste of that one out of our mouth? Because that one, said 2 creepy uncles. Okay, Charles Thorne says, please. Okay, let's do one more just so we don't have to end on that one. Okay. Okay, let's get 2 cards of 2 different colors, preferably. Okay. Okay, TBS says, at the end, Slagador gets a visit from the World War II dragon because the studio mandated a cinematic universe. Okay. Better 1 or 2? Better 1 or 2? We got 1 for 2. 1 for 2. All right, unanimous 2. And a plot. Okay. Here we go. Better 1 or 2? 1 or 2? We got 1 for 1. Okay, unanimous ones. Our plot is an A-list Hollywood star, the edge of bankruptcy, fights a deadly monster while lost at sea. Okay, let's see. We need an A-list Hollywood star, the edge of bankruptcy. He was the hottest shit on Hollywood. Oh, hold on. Let's see. Let me see if I have something over here real quick. Holy crap, I just realized something. Before I go any further, I could have done that whole trailer like this. And now, these 3 Pikachu will help me find the love of my life. I forgot I had that thing. Okay, I had a pair of sunglasses to wear for this one. Okay. He was the hottest Hollywood star in the 1990s. Gary Busey, you're on fire. That's right. I am never going I'm never going to burn out. But then he burned out. I'm washed up. What should I do? Well, let's see. Oh, yeah, he has a son. Well, Dad, let's go on a fishing trip together. Okay, let's do that. It was supposed to be a father-son fishing trip. There's nothing better than catching fish on the grapefruit. Whoa! Hey, it's me! I'm the bio-lizard again! Shit, I thought we were trying to avoid a cinematic universe. That's right, I'm the best at cinematic universes. We're gonna have all the characters you never even heard of. Okay. This one's upside down. Better 1 or 2? The bio-lizards from Sonic Adventure 2. And from the Pikachu movie we did earlier. We got 1 for 1, 1 for 2. 2 for 2. All right. Okay, we want this to be a musical. All the characters need to sing. Let's see. Let's rewind a little bit. Oh, Gary Busey, yes, what do you want? Your career will never fade. But then one day he did a bunch of cocaine, and now his career is gone. Hey, father, yes, son, how about we take our minds off of the fishing trip? Yes, son, that sounds like the shit. So now they're at sea, they got the fish coming up, going under the sea, avoiding Gary Busey, eating us is all right to me. And the pilot says, I was only in one Sonic game, and then they threw me into the ocean. Who can save us now? It is I, Trumper Skills, the best dragon to ever be a dragon. This summer, you will believe that God is dead because Gary Busey, Trump, and the bio-lizard are all in a musical together. This Arbor Day, it's, let's see, the old wash-ups and the sea, bringing a new meaning to the term washed ashore, as in washed up. Let's see, Charles Lawrence says the New American Dream, the musical. Good gravy. I feel like this one feels just as ridiculous as the last one. This is what I get for doing these late at night when I'm all exhausted. Well, let's see. Do I have the ones that I put back in the deck? Oh, wait. I do have the other ones. Okay. A trigger-happy police officer only has 1 month to complete their bucket list. And then the creepy uncles come back. That's what I get for also trying to make a cinematic universe. I don't know. Should we wrap it up here? I feel like I kind of phoned it in on the Pitch Storm one this time. Bonvan says at least this one is funny, so okay, that works. All right. Oh, let me put these back then. Okay, or it says we can end off here. And for future reference, let's not try to make a cinematic universe out of this, or else I feel like we're going to be boxed in. Let me grab just 2 random ones. A stoic family of pioneers attempt to rescue hostages from a skyscraper. What do we call this one? Stoic family of pioneers attempt to rescue hostages from a skyscraper. That would be Die on the Oregon Trail Hard. Okay, my mom says this was fun and helpful, and what else? Okay, I guess before we end, let me see if I can come up with a few titles. Okay. Shy young woman, afraid to chase her dreams, has been a bridesmaid 50 times, is about to lose it. That already sounds like a plot, so let's pick another character. A trigger-happy police officer, I keep running into this one, is a bridesmaid and is about to lose it. Sounds like miscongeniality on crack. Oh yeah, I guess next time we should try one of these, the award season cards. Most expected character deaths and most likely to make men's right activists angry. Okay, I think the Gary Busey one ought to do that one. Alrighty, I guess with that, I will see you all later. Hope this has been helpful. I probably need to rehearse, figuring out a structure to the pitch storm part, so I can at least not be as unprepared. Like, there is some rehearsal that goes to improv, just so you know the patterns, not necessarily what's going to get thrown at you for suggestions. All right, with that, I'll see you all later. Hope this helped, and good luck in your writing, everyone.